Hey, all you music lovers. On ChetChat today, we have a treat for you because we have famous music composer and DJ from Australia, Jamie Stevens. Jamie has over 2 decades of work, a handful of awards, and he's performed at some of the grandest venues across the world. Jamie is a role model for the electronic music industry. We also have with us Ajit Sarathi. Ajit has been a DJ for over a decade. He's performed alongside legendary DJs like Dave Seaman, Stell, and of course Jamie. He works with the BBC for over 5 years. So welcome Jamie and welcome Ajit to the show.
Thanks for having us.
And tell us a little bit about how this happened to you. How did you get into this industry?
It was just through following my love of music, which I had from quite a young age, and my dad actually sold computers from our home, so I was always around computers. So I started experimenting when I was a kid, probably when I was about 10,
Wow.
I think. So the music that I loved always had an electronic element to it, and it just kind of grew and grew, and then formed a band, and then we started playing all around the world, and it's kind of exploded from there. So
How did it start for you, Ajit?
I was a classical singer. My mother was also a classical singer, and I was really bad in academics. I was really bad, always out of the class most of the time. My folks never pressurized me, and they really wanted me to do something related to music. Yes, of course, I was partying very, very much when I was young, so I got into DJing because of the whole
music
party.
and the party.
Yes.
Sure. So tell me, I get these people writing in saying they want to be a DJ, they want to be a sound producer, a composer. But how can they tell whether this is an area they're really going to be interested in the long run?
A lot of people want to become DJs because of the whole glamorous thing, and those fancy festivals and
absolutely the who's who, the party scene.
Exactly.
if you're just chasing popularity, then you're not going to explore creatively as much as you would if you were. You would basically try to follow trends and always changing, and that's not a basis for a career at all. Your career has to be based on something that you're really passionate about.
Right. But it's interesting, you've had a formal training in classical music.
Yeah.
You've picked it up along the way.
I play by ear, just like playing along to other music that's playing. Because my family's a very musical family. My dad was in a band, and
So one of the questions that comes to mind is, before they get into electronic music, should they know any other form of music? Is it necessary?
Yeah, I think it's very important to understand the fundamentals of music, and even the simple construction of music.
The structure. If you're sitting, if you're producing music, to just match a note, you'll be like, dun, 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 no, it's not that. But if you've actually learned music, you'll be right there.
Because I've heard some people who have just started out and they don't know any music at all, which is fine. But then you hear the music and it's like, oh, that note is actually completely in the wrong key, and they just can't hear it. So it's really important to understand harmony and things like that. Yeah, and even when it comes to DJing, learning your measures and then learning your beats and knowing what your
keys
your keys, and not being able to kind of blend properly. And
because electronic music is something which is full of melodies and a lot of stuff involved. But whereas a lot of DJs, they play hip hop. Then you don't require such kind of notes, and it's all rapping and
It depends on what kind of genre as well, because
playing.
electronic music encompasses such a diverse range of styles.
Right.
So a drum and bass DJ will be different to a house DJ, or different to sort of R&B DJ. So there's all different sort of types of techniques.
Right. So coming to training, you said they need to know the structure of how to DJ. So should they be undertaking formal training, or should they learn it by themselves? Should they intern under somebody like you? I mean, what do you suggest?
You can actually start with just watching few tutorials and just understand the basics.
I think there's basics of music which you can look on YouTube videos, but you can also go to the library. There's books on these things for music for beginners.
Okay.
Learning with YouTube videos, you can actually hear the notes, and you're not just in your head. But the difficulty with finding YouTube tutorials is there's so many of them. So knowing what a good one versus a bad one is. So that's the downside.
And then the second step is like finding which are the best schools that if you just go blank and sit there, then it will be like a NASA.
Absolutely. So having done that, let's assume they go through some of these beautiful tutorial videos, they read a couple of the books and they still feel they're interested. What next would you recommend for them?
Maybe like second-hand
exactly.
CDJs, doesn't have to be the latest because they're very, very expensive. So.
But there are people, there are kids, as in they've bought probably the hell amount of equipment, they have a lot of stuff, but still they're wondering what should we do with it.
Yeah,
like less is more.
Yeah,
so
this is the problem with I think it pertains to DJing and music production is people are interested in it, so they feel they have to buy everything at once, which is not the way to go about it. It's like starting simply. So when it comes to music production, just buying the simple version of, say, Ableton, because it's the most intuitive program out there at the moment. I mean, I use Ableton and Logic, which is two different programs, and learning each instrument and learning all the effects and the process. And I think starting very simply, rather than, I think so many people go out and download all these different plugins and buy all these different synths and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, not really know how to run it all, and they become disillusioned with it all. And, it's all too hard, or they make music that sounds like everyone else because they haven't gone beyond the presets. So there's the sounds that come with it.
Okay, so we have this young enthusiast who's bought the DAW that you recommended. He's looked at the online tutorials and he's fiddled around, and now he's made a little bit of a track. So how does he begin now to build that brand and market himself and establish himself in this industry?
You really need to work hard and share your music with different DJs and different producers and different promoters, and share music on SoundCloud. There are different mediums of Mixcloud.
Mixcloud. Yeah, just Mixcloud's for your DJ set. So if you're just DJing,
you can
put your sets up
put
there.
You can record your sets, and you can put it on there, and then people start liking your music, and then promoters book you if they like your music, and that's how it really works. Because right now social media is such a big thing, so everything is channelized through social media majorly.
That you really need to make sure that what you're doing is not necessarily unique, but really well done.
Right.
There's so many people out there doing the same thing that you need to stand out. So that's just through practice and really just refining. And then when you put your DJ mixes online, you might find you have a following. If you stand out. When it comes to music production, it's about making sure that you've developed your sound as much as you possibly can before you send it out, because there is an issue of not having a particularly refined product, sending it to a label, them hearing it going, oh, this is not great. You send them something else, maybe in a year's time when you develop, they probably won't open the email. So it comes down to spending so much time working on your tracks. You can, if you have peers, you can send your music to your peers, discuss your music, get tips, get feedback, and be open to feedback. It's very easy to overload your tracks with lots and lots of sounds because, I've made this sound, I'm really proud of that. Oh, I'm really proud of this part, I'm really proud of this. And they'll add them all together and it's too much. That's what I do with my music tutoring as well. Like I kind of listen through people's tracks and kind of help them find their sound, to refine parts that I think are unique to them. Kind of developing
and it's really
their
important
sounds.
to listen to as much music as you can, as people and different sets from different artists, and so you need to listen to your own set again and again to rectify where you've gone wrong.
You need to be self-critical. Listening to a whole range of music. This is the thing about being passionate about music. This is where you can really start injecting these new sounds because you've taken some bit of folk music in there, or something that's unique, something new. So because I think there's a problem with just listening just within your own little niche that you happen to like. It just eats itself.
Repetitive.
It's easy copying the same thing. Really, it's variations on a theme. Whereas it makes it more interesting. You'll stand out more. And you'll be more excited about it. Just finding ways of injecting other parts of music.
Sure. So this is very interesting. There are so many genres, like you said, within electronic music. You're talking about listening to all of them. But the advice is to specialize?
I think it's about finding something that you are passionate about, finding your own voice and being true to yourself, absorbing music, because you'll be drawn. It's listening to a whole lot of music. You don't necessarily connect to all that music, but you're going to find there's other music that you really love. But finding your own way of expressing it, exactly.
Maybe any instrument for that matter you are very much hooked to. Maybe percussions, maybe sitar, maybe the bass lines one creates. That is really
kind of thing.
important. What exactly pulls you in? What involves you?
Your style.
Your style.
I think that the talent that comes into it is knowing how to put these things together and how to make it your own. There's a great book about art called How to Steal Like an Artist, saying that all art is stolen. Like no one's ever come up with an original idea. It's about taking things and making them your own. The collision of different cultures, different art cultures, everything. It's about being open to all that, and that's what gives you your own voice. How you interpret everything around you.
Yeah. Jamie, it was fantastic. You mentioned about your tutoring. So I'm sort of very interested for people to know. You do this one-on-one tutoring?
I found that being able to answer questions immediately, listening to their projects that they're working on, hearing kind of the way that something can be more sort of finely honed, I found was something that was really important to them. I guess making that link between creating a piece of music and getting it released, and sort of just helping them with advice on how to approach labels. And so I do a lot of the times. People come to my studio, I'll go to theirs, and sometimes I do it online as well.
So some of my viewers sitting in another country outside of Australia want to explore this option. They can write into you.
Yeah. I've got my music Facebook page. Yeah.
So Ajit, one of the questions that the younger generation asks quite often is, there's a sync button that I can press. So why do I need to learn beat matching and BPMs and all of that?
If you really want to be a DJ, I would definitely suggest that you should really learn the art of mixing manually. That is very, very important. Sync button has its own feature, and it's not that you sync 2 tracks and just stand there behind the deck. It's like doing multiple things at one point in time, adding acapellas to the track, adding different loops, adding different samples, adding a lot of other things, playing 4 decks at a time, so you're syncing like 4 tracks, and so your mind is constantly at work.
And I think mixing manually as well makes you listen to the track more. You become a lot more focused on the music. You have to listen very, very carefully. You understand your music a lot more, and I think that's the general debate about manual beat matching. Is really being engaged with the track rather than just, I'll just chuck this one on. Oh yeah, mix, okay, bring that in. You're not really listening.
And talking about collaborations going forward, there's so many of you across the world working. Is there a way that they can work with other DJs, other sound producers across the world?
There are a lot of times we do back-to-back sets, like one DJ is playing one track, the other one is playing, and the journey is like flawless. You don't feel like that, 2 different DJs are playing. So that sync in the head has to be there, the storyline. If one is playing a tribal house or somebody is playing a techno, obviously it will not go together. They have different stories in their head.
It can be said for both music production and DJing, is that becoming part of a greater community and communicating and listening and absorbing whatever you can, and making friends and making connections is incredibly important. But you also don't want it to be in a fake way, like, I better talk to that person because that person's important. People can see through that. But if it comes from a place where you're passionate about what you're doing, the beauty of people that even the upper tier DJs or producers, you find that where they're willing to kind of share experiences and wanting to meet people that are genuine, probably more inclined to be able to get something released when you connect at a musical level and a personal level.
Which brings me to a very important question on revenue. The revenue model. How early can you start making money? How can you start making money?
Probably by the time you're 90, I think. It's DJing.
It's a very competitive world right now, to be very honest. It's very, very competitive. It's like you really, really have to work hard, first of all. And you have to be totally different from whatever's happening right now. What's happening nowadays is there's so many DJs, you know, and like we spoke about the sync button, the softwares coming into business. So people are not actually using those softwares properly. They're just going there to every club and just playing random music. So and they're promoters mostly, you know, and they have their own database. So the club's also getting revenues.
In Australia, there's a lot of DJs who will start off doing a lot of warm-up sets. This is the thing, if you know your music and you can play sets earlier in the night and be able to play stuff that is musically relevant to that time, and don't go in there, oh yeah, this is what I play hard techno. You're not going to be asked back. You're not going to be booked again to play, like a 10 o'clock set or something like that. So there's people who have like 5-6 bookings a week, because they play long sets, at sort of bars and things like that. It's about understanding your music and be able to be able to adapt.
Right.
I think.
But they need to be open also. It's not that they could only depend on one career.
Right.
It's very important to have a backup.
Right.
It's very, very difficult to sustain. You get money, but at the same time, there's no regular income. You have gigs, you get money. What if you don't have gigs?
Sure.
So if you can challenge to keep a fine balance between your professional work and your music, it's really hard, trust me. But yeah, if you have the passion to do it, you will not feel the pain.
If you're talented and you're prepared to work hard, you can generate a revenue after you actually stand out from the crowd.
Sure.
So you need to work really, really hard. So in that, leading up to that, don't expect to make any money. And you very rarely will make money from releasing your music. If you release some tracks that happen to do very, very well, that other DJs support that they play and become successful, then you could perhaps think about doing a live set. So, and then you're bound to make a lot more money from playing live than releasing the music.
Right.
So releasing music's not a place to expect to bank on. Exactly.
So talking about, like you said, long working hours, late night music shifts, traveling, just whole jet lag. So what advice would you want to give to people watching the show about maintaining their health?
Don't overindulge. Like just drinking, when you're drinking, you can't really work the next day with an extreme hangover. So it's about keeping everything in check. I see so often people who get extremely drunk, very arrogant, and you end up severing ties with promoters and other DJs. I think remaining positive is a really important one. Like, this is where it always comes back to the reasons you're doing it, and having supportive people around you. If you got, that's really important. I mean, I've had an incredibly supportive family. Having that support really helps you get through bad hours, and what am I doing this? Say, no, you can do it.
So Ajit, tell me, you've shared decks with some really legendary artists. So who would you say would be your favorite?
I think he's he's an amazing guy, but that's the best. He's more than an artist.
Oh, he left.
He's
left. He's gone.
Dave Siemens, he's like a real. So he's like, you really need to be really mentally strong to party with him. He's like musically right there. Then Stelios, another good friend. He's very, very intelligent. You learn a lot from him. I really learn a lot. I've learned a lot from him. And I'm really inspired by artists like Danny Howells, John Digby, Sasha, Danny Tenaglia, different sound genre of music. But yeah, obviously very underground.
Okay. And Jamie, tell me, you performed across every top festival in the world and venue in the world. So what would you pick as your favorite place to play?
Well, in Australia, I've just finished playing at a festival called Rainbow Serpent Festival. It's an incredible place that has about 20,000 people go just about 3 hours outside Melbourne, and the atmosphere there is just like nothing else. When I was in Fusion, we played at Fabric a number of times, Fabric in London, which that sound system's just amazing. Melkweg in Amsterdam was fantastic. Coachella was a fantastic festival, which has changed a lot these days. It's become a lot more commercial, and but at the time it was amazing. but yeah, I've been very, very lucky to play Womb in Japan. Yeah, great club. So.
So thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure people watching the show have had a great experience listening to the two of you and your wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
being
asking.
here.
Thank you.
Please click the subscribe button below. Like me at facebook.com/ChetChat101. Follow my Twitter handle ChetChat101 or at Instagram ChetChat101. Please leave your comments in the sections below. And if you'd like me to feature any particular college, please let me know. Thank you.